trip to paradise.
Are you ready? Okay, let's do it.
We are in Florida for round 7 of ATC13. The back half of the season has begun, and we are at Sebring Modified. So we've cut off half the track. It's basically just turn 1, Sunset, and Lamar Corner. And then you have two big straightaways. And it's not even the regular Sunset. Sunset, you're going in deeper and turning... making a sharper turn. It's more of almost a hairpin. Humidity's high. There's rain in the area, but it's not expected to hit the track. I feel like I've said that 3 different times this season, but I guess we just it's not going to be a very wet season. Let's take a look at today's starting grid to see how everyone did during qualifying. On pole is Polasek, and he is alongside Logan McKenzie. So P1, P2 are P2 and P1 in the championship. Polasek's got a 40-point gap to close on McKenzie. Then you have Fabi, Hendricks, and Mills, Daniel Mills, and the rest of RD Sim Sport back for the race at Sebring. Then you have Zepka, Schenk, Mayer, De Almeida, and Lynn. They're in the top 10. Young, Gorman, Bauer, Darnell, all the way down to 15th, where you have Corey Lobner making what I believe is his first Delta pole start. And then you have Carr and Akers sandwiched between him and the other Delta drivers, Evan Clavijo and Fuad Arijla, and then Nate Kerr, your current Delta Championship leader, sits there in 20th. Luzon didn't have a great qualifying, neither did Damon Mitchell, Connor Acatella. Those guys are all further back. JB DeJay starting 31st. And I believe we have 40 cars in the field today. We do, with the back of the field brought up by Tyler Bramble and Kevin Johnson. So now we simply await the green flag to drop. I believe we're only about 5 seconds from that happening. And they are revving up. Polasek waits to lead them off, and they are away. He gets a good start. McKenzie as well. Bobby a little slow off the line, so heading down to turn 1, he'll have to defend all the way to the inside. Mills fitting into the middle with Micah Hendricks on the outside there into turn 1 in the battle for P3. Bobby slots in ahead of Mills. Hendricks takes P3. Now heading down into the very tight turns 1 and 2. We're going to see the field really stack up here. Oh, a little hit. That's between Youngsi Lin and Mike Almeida. I think that may have been Chris Young getting sideways there. The field really stacking up. You see everyone going really slowly from there. Lewis Gilbert and Kyle Murray getting to know each other. And this is just a massive gaggle of cars as Polasek leads them through the Le Mans corner for the first time today. This field is extremely tight as they head down to Sunset. I see someone has gone around in the background. I think that is Jason Lynn. Looks like that is the case. So we're looking at Mark Darnell behind James Carr. David Bauer's going to go through on him out of the final corner. And Michael Polasek will lead this first lap at Sebring Modified. And the field is still very close together. Zepka, I think he has just been passed by Yongsi Lin. The Delta leader, Corey Lobner, is still where he qualified, and he sits 4 positions ahead of other Delta drivers. John Lazon's going to go in deep. Oh, there's a little bit of contact. Mark Darnell gets caught up in that. And Lobner, I think he's going to lose some positions. There are other people battling through there. This is Damon Mitchell and Lobner. Lobner now down to 17th off that. Mitchell going by him, and Connor Acatella is going to have a look as well. And Acatella on the right side. He's going to box Lobner out. And onto the back stretch. He is going to have the momentum to come back at Acatella. Maybe not. I think he's going to choose to stay behind for the corner, and I don't see others battling ahead. Youngsi Lin and Zepka. Zepka got a better run. Or no, Zepka attacked, but Youngsi Lin got the better run out of the corner despite going a little wide there. Turn 1, they go. Bauer pushing his teammate James Carr to turn 1. That's a huge bump draft. Can Carr handle that? He hits the apex and carries it through quite nicely up front. McKenzie has lost touch with Polasek a little bit. So Hendricks, Bobby, Mills, they're all on the hunt as Polasek tries to extend his 0.8 of a second lead that he has right now. Back behind, Bauer still running behind Carr. Nate Kerr, your Delta Championship leader, is just on the Delta podium, running 3rd behind Fuad Arijla. And Corey Lobner sits about 1.5 seconds up the road from them. There are 2 Alpha drivers in between, Connor Acatella and Spencer Clark. Acatella's gained 9 spots since the start. Clark has gained 6, and Acatella's going to go for a move on Lobner again after Lobner got back around him. Acatella's going to go through in the final corner on the front straightaway. Will Zepka look for a move to the inside of turn 1? No, he'll just push Lynn into the corner. And Lynn is going to just miss the apex, but I think not enough for, well, maybe enough for Zepka to take advantage. No, he cuts back across into the braking zone. Looking at JB DeJay and David Thomas going through turn 1. Thomas sweeping around the outside. And then behind, it's Kyle Murray and Gustavo Diniz going side by side through turn 1. Oh, I don't think that's going to work around the outside. Tough to get the outside car there. Not a whole lot that you can get done. Onto the back straightaway. Bauer very close to the back of his teammate James Carr here. And I think they might be swapping. Let's see. Bauer's going around him here. And the teammates, well, I guess they aren't, are they on the same team this season? No. Bauer is a breakfast for dinner driver. James Carr, a second breakfast driver. Either way, definitely some teamwork there. Lazan under pressure from Cooper Akers through the final corner. They're going to go side by side. Up ahead, McKenzie under pressure from Micah Hendricks in a battle for second. Oh, they come together and into the corner. More coming together. Hendricks gets boxed out. Bobby goes through, back to Cooper, and we come through here to Lazan and Akers getting together in turn 1. Mitchell's going to make this 3 wide, backs out of it, and into turn 2. Akers throws it in there deep. Lazan into the grass, and somehow they go 2 wide through there, and they are still latched together, but Lazan actually got the better exit, and now Akers is going to be under pressure from Mitchell. Hops the curb there, manages to get it back on track, and Mitchell is breathing down his neck. Back to the front. Now McKenzie is under pressure from Gonzalo Fabi instead of Micah Hendricks, and Fabi's not going to waste any time to the inside of the final corner. Gonzalo Fabi out of the final corner. I think he may have it. Let's see if he can close McKenzie off here. And McKenzie trying to get the nose in, a little bit of weaving down the straight. I think he tried to box him out, but he couldn't. He just couldn't. So McKenzie's going to be on the inside going into turn 1. Oh, McKenzie's got the nose ahead, but into turn 2. Will he be able to make it work around the outside? Here they come. Fabi's got the nose ahead here. Hendricks will be looking to capitalize. McKenzie gets a little bit into the grass, and that's going to be it. Hendricks goes through on him. Fabi and Hendricks are now onto the podium. Daniel Mills is behind in case something happens, and he's able to also get around McKenzie. Oh, the Delta leader has gone off track. He picked up the grass going through turns 2 and 3, and Nate Kerr, the Delta Championship leader, has emerged. He's gone through, and he's in the lead of this race. And for another win so far this season, that would increase his lead. It'd be great for him. Fabi, will he defend from Hendricks here into the final corner? Hendricks not making a move, so we look at Acatella on the inside of Damon Mitchell. There's action all over this track. We expected this, with it basically being a couple corners and 2 long straights. Acatella deep in the braking zone, clears Mitchell, and I think he's going to be able to finish that move. So we go back to the front. Turn 1, nobody making moves, but Acatella did not get a good run out of that final corner, and Mitchell is going to attack into turn 1 around the outside. These two have been going at it the entire race. We're halfway through now. It's only 15 minutes for this first race today. The second race, 35 minutes with a pit stop. We look ahead to Yongsi Lin and Matt Zepka, and Zepka's been looking at the back of Lin for some time now, but hasn't been able to find a way around. Fabi went a little wide there on the exit of Le Mans, so as a result, he's going defensive down the back straight. Hendricks is going to stay to the left. He's not picking up the slipstream. Fabi's trying to decide where he wants to defend. He stays to the middle of the track, and Hendricks can't find anything there. I haven't talked about Michael Polasek at all since the start of the race. He has been loving all this fighting behind him and has opened up nearly a 4-second lead. This is exactly what he wants. McKenzie getting mired in the battles. He runs away, picking up a ton of points, and that is going to be gold for him if that holds points-wise. 40-point gap. It's not that much. It could easily be closed, especially if McKenzie falls a little bit further down the order. Hendricks has been looking at the back of Fabi for some time. Fabi and Hendricks both very aggressive overtakers, late breakers. They like those late moves, last-second moves. They're both in the Honda, which is a really pointy car on exit. So if you can get a move to stick, you can usually get out on exit and be okay. Let's see. Fabi defends to the inside here again, and this time Hendricks is going to go deep enough on the brakes to go side by side with him. And on corner exit, can Hendricks keep a nose in? No, but he might have the momentum here. He goes for a crossover to hit the apex and then pulls up behind in the slipstream. Looks to the right into turn 1. McKenzie lurking in the background. Wheel to wheel as they hit the turn-in point. And Hendricks actually, oh, there's a little bit of contact. These two come together. They're going to go 3 wide now as McKenzie comes up the left side into turn 2. Fabi slots into the back. Hendricks slots ahead. Fabi is going to go back around McKenzie, and McKenzie is once again done through the first, or the turns 2 and 3 by Hendricks and Fabi, but it's in a different order. And now Hendricks is back into P2 and behind. Schink and Mills swapped while that was going on. So Schink into P5 just behind McKenzie. Mills shoving him through the corner onto the back straightaway. And these guys are all pushing it extra hard right now. McKenzie's very close to Fabi. He may look for a move into this corner. Fabi decides he is close enough, so let's go defensive. And we'll slot back in. Oh, a little bit of contact from Schink and McKenzie. They will go 3 wide through the final corner. Mayer and Schink and they are sandwiching McKenzie out of the final corner. I think Schink's gonna get ahead and McKenzie will clear Mayer into the braking zone. And more shuffling. But oh, Fabi was launching an attack on Hendricks there, but he couldn't get it done. Just over 3 minutes left in this race. Damon Mitchell and Cooper Akers going at it. Akers going up the inside of turn 1. Mitchell tries to cross him over. Can he get it done? I think he did get it done. At least got alongside him. Forces him narrow through the corner. They're all going to come together in a little stack up. That didn't really help anybody except Akers, who stays in front of this group. This battle for 15th. Nate Kerr still has an advantage on Corey Lobner in the Delta class, an 8/10 gap. Fuada Rizla is trying to hold off JB DeJay, trying to stay on that podium. Francois Schink under pressure from McKenzie into Sunset, but McKenzie can't do anything there. Acatella is alongside Damon Mitchell onto the back straightaway. He'll have the nose ahead into the braking zone, and he will be ahead into the braking zone. Fuada Rizla is into the back of David Thomas through the final corner. They're both going a little bit wide, and JB DeJay may capitalize off of this up the inside. And up ahead, Daniel Mills, Gonzalo Fabi. These guys are all stacked up through turns 2 and 3. Micah Hendricks has been shuffled to the back of the group. Daniel Mills into P2. And I think Fabi and Hendricks came together in turn 2, and that resulted in all these guys being stacked up into that corner. They were 2 by 2, and then some in the background. So this group continues to get shuffled every time we look in at it. And that has actually placed, it's allowed Youngsie Lin and Matt Zepka to catch up. And Lin has gotten ahead of Hendricks, and he's going to go defensive into this last corner. further back, Jason Breen and Kyle Murray, SRG teammates, out of the long corner, and Breen will cut ahead. David Thomas and Quad Original once again coming together in the final corner. A little bump and run, and Quad Original will go up the inside. Can he get it done? Can he maintain the momentum? I'm not sure. JB DeJay sure has a ton of momentum though. He's gonna pull alongside and pull himself right onto the Delta podium. Can he get the pass done though? We hit 60 seconds to go and he slots in ahead. Still, the space between these cars is crazy. From Daniel Mills down to Micah Hendricks, it's about 2.5 seconds. If you include Zepka in that, you know, you get to 3 seconds. And as we come to, have we gotten the white flag yet? Polasek off the final corner. He will pick up the white flag on this lap. So we are running 13 laps here at Sebring Modified. Hendricks looking to the outside of Lynn. Oh, got into a bit of a slide. That's going to expose him to Matt Zepka on the exit of the corner. Out of the final corner. Zepka's going to take that position, but I think Hendricks is going to be there to fight it. Into turn one. Can Zepka hold the outside as they get the white flag? A little wiggle from Hendricks under braking. Zepka hits the curbing. Oh, they almost come together, the former teammates, into turn two. Hendricks is going to have to yield that. Oh, but Zepka's going to go wide, and Hendricks is going to go through. So we'll go back to turn one. Oh, Huada originally, is he thinking about making it 3 wide? But these guys, no. Thomas sweeps ahead. DeJay on the inside as they get the white flag, fighting for the final Delta podium spot. Oh, can they get through here 2 wide? No, DeJay just cuts ahead as Al Ridgely gets the grass. Acatella looking for a move on Akers, trying to fend off Damon Mitchell here. Michael Polasek, though, his teammate, comes through the final corner to pick up another victory on the season and get ever closer to Logan McKenzie in the championship standings. A solid win from Polasek, nearly 10 seconds over Daniel Mills, who comes across the line, P2. Bobby P3, Shink, McKenzie, Mayer, out of the final corner, James Carr, John Lazan. It's a drag race to the line, and I think Carr got him. That is what I'm seeing on my screen. And out of the final corner, Nate Kerr. Another Delta win for the only Audi in the field, the Bearcat Motorsports driver. It's a win. He extends the championship lead. JB DeJay just barely on the podium by 7/100ths over Fuado Rizla. And then Corey Lobner finished P2. What a race. The 35-minute race. People may be a little calmer since there will be a pit stop. I guess we'll find out. But some incredible driving from everyone in the field. We will invert the top 12 drivers. So David Bauer will be on pole alongside Mike D'Almeida for the second race. And then we will get back to you with race 2. See you in a moment. Well, it is time for the second race today here at Sebring. It is going to be a slightly different looking field with David Bauer taking pole position here at Sebring. The winner of the first race, Michael Polasek, sits back in P12 on this starting grid. We have about 20 seconds before they finish gridding. There is Nate Kerr, the first race's Delta winner, with the second place Delta driver right next to him, Corey Lobner, in the white Honda. But up front, it's Bauer, it is Mike D'Almeida, and they are about to go. Here we go, 35 minutes at Sebring Modified. And we are green. David Bauer will lead us on here at Sebring. And immediately at the start, there is going to be chaos. Someone got a bad start. I think it may have been Matthew Mayer. Bauer defending into turn one. Mike D'Almeida following with Gorman. Oh, Hendricks goes a little wide there, and now there is some carnage. Hey, McKenzie on the grass. They're going 3 wide through here, and now Shink gets caught up in it. Mills, Bobby, oh, Bobby going wide, coming back onto the track, and these guys are all scattering, and now Bobby gets clipped by Shink, and more carnage. Can Shink, oh, Shink has a little bit of damage there. Bobby's gonna drop through the field, another car gets collected, and now they're 3 wide back here, and there's even more wrecking, and this is Sebring modified at its finest. Bobby gets spun around, and again, manages to end up pointing the right way. We go back up front. David Bauer is leading the field down to Sunset, and I'm sure the stewards will have a fun time picking all of that apart. And Nate Kerr is battling for the Delta lead right now. JB DeJay trying to work around the outside for that top spot. And out of the final corner, Kerr, oh, he's just gonna box him out. Daniel Mills has to hit pit road. Matthew Mayer had a jump start. I don't know if Daniel Mills had a jump start or has damage. I think he is actually pulling into his box, but Matthew Mayer's gonna pass through. Nate Kerr goes a little wide here. Will he be able to defend his lead? And into turns 2 and 3, he stays ahead of DeJay. Corey Lobner got shuffled back to 3rd place, 17th overall. Up ahead, David Bauer leads a lap, picks up the double bonus point. And Mike Delmita lurks in the background. Edward Gorman in 3rd. Zepka in 4th, an eclectic group of drivers there. Zepka has actually won at Sebring before, his one of his career wins. And oh, look at that, McKenzie making a move on Lynn there into P5, and he's going to make that stick. Nate Kerr trying to do the same on Clark. Clark has held it around the outside a bit better, and they are going to be at the same point coming out of the final corner across the line in turn 1. It's going to be a battle on the brakes. And Clark, I think, has the advantage into turn 1. If he can stick the apex, he's got this. Ahead, Lazon goes wide. That allows Shink and Carr to go through. Shink, does he have a meatball flag? It'd be surprising if he didn't. Acatella has had issues. I think he's gone wide. 3 cars, 4 cars go through on him. And on to the backstretch now. McKenzie, I think, is the fastest. Oh, he's flashing Zepka there. He's the fastest car in the top 5, I think. So we're going to see some aggressiveness because Polasek has done a good job following him up the field and lurks in the background, going on Lynn, while McKenzie attacks Zepka, and he goes through. Can Polasek get the same move done? Behind, Nate Kerr and Spencer Clark are going through the corner again, but this time with Kerr on the inside. And down to turn 1, Polasek now on the outside of Lynn in that Honda. Can he get it done? Can he hit the apex and keep the defending champion behind him? A little wiggle on corner entry. He's not going to clear him before turns 1 and 2. I think Polasek's going to be able to have his way, and Lynn backs out. And back here, Nate Kerr ends up ahead of Spencer Clark. Oh, and DeJay is going to look to the inside in turns 2 and 3, but Clark manages to keep him behind. They'll stack up a little bit. Acatella getting into the back of Thomas, but no harm, no foul. And further back here in the battle for 12th in the Delta class, you see Tommy Patel ahead of Lynn, behind Akers. Akers got shuffled back here. Gorman under pressure from McKenzie now. McKenzie got a better exit, and now as they head down to Sunset, that'll be 3 passes and 3 laps, I think, from McKenzie. And Gorman has to go defensive. I think he braked quite early there, as Zepka wanted to look as well. And Lobner is looking for a move on Acatella. Acatella's got heavy front-end damage. Something. He shunted into something. And DeJay is going for a move on Clark here at the same time. Acatella going wide behind, so that will allow Lobner through. And Chris Young is going to get involved. So heading down to turn 1. Oh, it's carnage ahead. Nate Kerr has yielded the Delta lead. He may have had a slowdown, so that puts JB DeJay into the lead of the class. And there's a lot of cars here. Nate Kerr trying to get around David Thomas. He has to yield. Acatella going in on the outside of Corey Lobner. I see Chris Young now trying to stick his nose in. And this is a huge gaggle, and this has changed up the battle for the lead of the class a bit. DeJay is now in front after I think Kerr had to serve a slowdown, probably cut the last corner a bit too much. Up in front, Bauer, DeAlmeida, and McKenzie are all stacked together. DeAlmeida is looking for a move on the leader, trying to at least get a bonus point for leading a lap out of the final corner. Here they go. Bauer on the outside, DeAlmeida on the inside to the line. Bauer's going to be ahead at the line. McKenzie lurks in the background. He's looking. Will he make it 3 wide? No. Into turn 1. Bauer will be on the inside, trying to defend against the Yellow Flag Motorsport Veloster. We are only 6.5 minutes in. It's a 35-minute race. There will be a pit stop. Yamita gets into the back of Bauer a little bit behind. Polasek uses the opportunity to take the position from Zepka. He moves into 5th. David Thomas trying to go around DeJay here. This is going to put him under pressure from Kerr. Kerr's going to at least get the nose in. Not sure he's going to be able to do anything about it, though. He has to stay back there. So back up front. Now DeAmita's under pressure from McKenzie. Into Sunset. I don't think there's going to be much he can do under the brakes. And McKenzie ekes ahead. Gorman goes a bit deep behind. Polasek now pulls alongside. Looking for another pass. And they are picking. The two championship protagonists are picking these guys off one by one. Into turn 1, Polasek is going to be on that outside line. If you can hold it, it's the line you want to be on, because into turn 2, you're on the inside, and Gorman's not going to be able to do much here. Micah Hendricks is pulled up to the back of this group now. He'll be looking for something here. Further back, Chris Young is pulled up to the back of this group of Lobner, Kerr, Thomas. So far, so good for Corey Lobner. I see the Please No Punterino sticker. He's been elbowed around a little bit, but I wouldn't say he's been punted. David Bauer is now under pressure out of Le Mans. McKenzie is looking for the lead of this race, and Bauer's chosen to defend the inside line. I think this is the first time McKenzie's had to fight around the outside. Can he hold it around there? Bauer really attacks the apex. The two Yellow Flag Motorsport drivers are in the background. McKenzie swaps over to the right. Bauer will defend the inside of this corner, but this will be what McKenzie wants. If we get to turns 2 and 3, if he can hold that outside, here we go. Through turn 1 for the lead of the race. Elantra on the inside for breakfast for dinner. Here we go. Oh, a little bit of contact into turn 2. And Bauer gets boxed out onto the grass. This may allow Polasek through. Polasek went through on Mike Yamita. I think Mike Yamita had an issue because he slipped behind Gorman there. So now Polasek right into the thick of it. And further back, Corey Lobner getting passed by Chris Young. Chris Young working his way around him through turns 2 and 3. John Lazan is under some pressure from Francois Schenck in the battle for 9th. I'm not sure who was ahead here. Schenk's had that damage for a while. Is that thing even driving straight? It's actually driving straight. That is kind of crazy. Down to the final corner, Bauer's not going to be able to defend the inside from Polasek here, so this could suddenly very quickly become a fight between the top 2 in the championship, and Polasek is going to be on that maybe preferred outside line here, while Hendricks behind attacks Lynn on the inside. They're neck and neck, and I think Polasek's going to be in a good position to finish this pass through the next couple corners. And Hendricks finished his pass on Lynn through turn 1, and Bauer's going to end up on the grass again. So Gorman is now going to have a shot at him. Fuado Rijla goes around Corey Lobner into turn 1, and Lobner continues to slip down the order. Back up front here, Gorman went for a little look at Bauer there. Couldn't find it. This whole group very stacked up. Diamita just got a bad run through the corner, so Hendricks is now going to pull alongside. And Yangtze Lin, I think, is going to decide to give Hendricks a little bump draft into the corner. McKenzie only has an 0.8 advantage over Polasek. We'll see just how much faster Polasek here is in a moment. Hendricks is going to have the inside line on Mike De Almeida, and he pulls ahead into P5. And Lynn, and Lazon is faster than Schenk. He is now 0.8 up on the Sia driver. Now Schenk will be able to repair once he gets to pit lane. Gorman trying to get around Bauer here and into turns 2 and 3. He's got it done. Now Bauer will be under pressure from Hendricks. Behind Lobner on the far inside line for turn 1. Maybe he's trying to serve a slowdown, but he is shedding positions, and Trenton Kramer will try and work around him here, and I think that's going to happen as well. And even Lewis Gilbert has pulled up to the back of him, and he's going to have to let Lewis Gilbert by as he misses the corner, and disaster for Lobner. That was probably a slowdown, but that was a huge group of cars there that he had to let through. Oh, Polasek flashing McKenzie as they head down to the final corner. He's not quite within range, but he's close. Now Hendricks has the inside line on Bauer, and he will take that. We are about a third of the way through this race. Bauer slots in behind, but will he take it lying down? No, he's going to pull up to the right side of the Croc Promotions driver. And into turn 1, he's not going to be alongside him. So we look back to the exit of the final corner, and it looks like Chris Young has successfully defended against David Thomas. David Thomas can look to the inside there. Now here, Micah Hendricks is going to have to work around the inside of Bauer through turns 2 and 3. DeJay is now under pressure from Nate Kerr in the battle for the Delta lead. Edward Gorman has an 0.8 of a second gap here. Polasek is right on the back of McKenzie for the overall lead, and both lead battles are getting very spicy now as McKenzie now trying to break the toe. He moves to the middle of the track, and I guess that's where he's going to defend. He's going to sit there, and Bauer moving all the way over in the background. I'm not sure what that, he may be defending. McKenzie also defending on the inside. Polasek's first shot at the lead, and I think McKenzie's going to clear him. Lynn will not be able to get around Bauer. Polasek set the fastest lap of the race that time around. Nate Kerr for the Delta lead up the inside of the J. And out of the corner. I think they're going to be side by side. So here we go, down to turn 1. DeJay has an advantage here. He's going to cut back across, and he's going to be able to hold the lead for now. So we look back to the overall lead. And there are people pitting now, people who had damage, Schenk, Acatella. So that means the pit window is open, and those drivers will come out to clean air. We'll see how that develops. McKenzie going to the inside of the track to defend against Polasek. They are barreling down to the final corner, the modified Sunset. Will Polasek choose? He chooses the outside again, but really this isn't an attack at all. So we look to the back where we see Lynn going up the inside of Bauer this time. A little bit of contact at the apex. Bauer will slot in behind. Mike Diamita may have the momentum to do something into turn 1 here. He's right on the back of him. Moves to the inside of the breakfast for dinner driver. Now through turn 1, if Bauer can hold this, he'll be on the preferred line through the next couple corners. Oh, it's going to be close. Mike Diamita will have an advantage here as they hit the apex.
Oh, contact. And that is going to be a nice crossover from Mike Almeida. Bauer did a little slide job on him, and I thought that was a great move. But then Almeida got his nose back in, and a little elbow out over the curb for Bauer. He's going to have to take a slowdown for that, I think, and he'll be out of this fight, but it's not over yet. These guys are coming to blows. This is the Almeida versus Bauer at Sebring Modified, and Bauer unhappy with that one. I am sure Zepka is sitting there like, oh my god, what am I involved in? Up to the battle for the lead. McKenzie once again defending on the inside, and Polasek not able to take anything there. So into the final corner, Bauer is going to end up behind Zepka, and more contact. He just tried to slot in behind Zepka there and ended up getting into the back of him. So now John Lazon is coming up to fight him. The battle for the Delta lead is spicy. We have Chris Young and David Thomas getting in there. And for the Alpha lead, Polasek has stuck it up the inside of McKenzie and through turns 2 and 3. McKenzie will have the preferred line. Polasek a little into the grass. That's all it's going to take for McKenzie to hold that spot. Bauer and Lazon. Bauer will have the preferred line here, and he will hold that spot. Nate Kerr trying to defend off David Thomas. What happened to DeJay? DeJay is pitting, so this is his pit strategy. He pits out of the Delta lead. Bauer and Lazon still going at it. I wonder if Bauer has some suspension damage. Let's take a look. It looks like it's driving straight at least. Down to the final corner. McKenzie choosing the same defensive line that he's been using. Polasek chooses not to attack. And this may end up being a wait till the pit stops kind of deal, but that would be a while. We'll see if McKenzie can hold him off for that long. See anyone else taking pit this lap. Guado Ridgela and Jason Breen have been promoted onto the Delta podium with DeJay going into the pits. Zepka and Lazon have chosen to take a pit this time. Now this is just fuel. There's no required tire stop. So with just under 20 minutes to go, these guys are deciding, hey, there's a gap behind that I can fit into when I fill this thing up with fuel that'll really help me out. So those guys pull in. Oh no, I saw tires. Lazon is taking tires. That is going to slow him down tremendously. And Zepka pulls away. And yeah, that's going to be some positions lost. Clark is going to go around him as well. McKenzie far enough ahead that he will not have to defend the final corner on this lap. Nate Kerr also has that luxury, 7/10 ahead of Guado Ridgela, but he is currently thinking about a move on David Thomas, I think. Young see Lynn and Edward Gorman. Lynn, I think, got around Gorman a while back, and he's not been able to fully break the toe there. Down to turn 1, Polasek is inching closer. Will he go for a move? I'm not sure 2/10 is close enough. It's not. We're kind of just waiting. Now the field has been broken up quite a bit by the pit cycle, so we're kind of just waiting here a little to see how that all plays out, especially the Delta class, because the Alpha class and the battle for the overall lead, these guys haven't really pitted. Polasek goes a little wide there. But the Delta class, you know, now that DeJay is pitted, this is going to be interesting. And actually, where did he deploy onto the track? He's got clean air where he is. Spencer Clark came out ahead of him, but otherwise, it's a great gap for him. So he can set clean laps out here, while Nate Kerr has David Thomas potentially holding him up a bit in front of him. Now, McKenzie is under some pressure, and will Polasek go to the inside here? No, again, he looks to the outside. This time, gets pretty far alongside on the brakes. But McKenzie just able to attack that apex better from the inside line. Now, Polasek will be very close, and I'm sure he will try something into turn 1, but McKenzie will probably stick to the outside because he'll want that line through turns 2 and 3. Polasek will really have to attack into turn 1. What can he do? Has to get it stopped. The 04 holding the outside. Polasek has gotten quite far alongside now, and McKenzie will be in trouble a little bit here. Oh, they come to blows, and Polasek gets sideways. McKenzie not able to do anything there, and Micah Hendricks is back in the picture.
Polasek is into the lead. He's going for the double. David Thomas and Chris Young pull onto pit lane. That frees up Nate Kerr. Micah Hendricks is right there. Chris McDonald, Francois Schink, and Mitchell Rickmeyer. They're all going 3 wide into turn 1. Schink trying to recover after having to pit early. Down the back straightaway. McKenzie's not going to give this up. He looks to the inside of Polasek. And on the brakes, he's got the nose in, so they will continue to fight here for the lead. 21-minute mark. There are 14 minutes left in this race, and these guys will have to pit. McKenzie trying to keep the nose in there into turn 1 and force Polasek to take the inside line. He will do it. He'll try and sweep around the outside. Polasek, though, I think he's going to inch ahead before they get to the corner. And McKenzie not close enough to go for any kind of dive. James Carr, Jason Breen on pit lane. This is firmly a 3-car fight for the lead now. Hendricks has caught all the way back up with all the fighting they did. And with all the fighting they did, you got to wonder who else that pitted might be creeping up to the back of them. A lot of drivers cycling through pit road right now. Polasek's going to try and set a gap here before the pit stops. See Lynn coming off of pit lane as Zepka goes around him. Down to the final corner. I wonder how long these guys can actually go. The lead cars must be very close. Trenton Kramer and Jason Breen are going at it. Into turn 3. Kramer working around the outside there. Micah Hendricks and Yongsi Lin and Edward Gorman all pull onto pit lane. That makes me think Polasek and McKenzie are probably next. DeJay, now this is interesting for DeJay because Nate Kerr still hasn't pitted, and DeJay's going to get held up by this fighting here between Kramer. He slots ahead of Breen. Polasek and McKenzie. Polasek only has a half-second gap here. Pit lane is very busy. Hendricks leaves pit road. Gorman leaves pit road as well. Yongsi Lin is taking tires, so he will drop a bit further down the field. There goes Francois Schink. He is going to come out. He's ended up cycling just behind Edward Gorman, and he could be on for a P4 here with Micah Hendricks, the car ahead of Gorman. Mitchell, Gilbert, Honegger, they all have gone the extra lap. Nate Kerr emerges from pit lane, and DeJay has definitely been held up here because he's ended up behind Rijla and Trenton Kramer, who have also pitted. So Kerr has a large lead in the Delta class. McKenzie and Polasek hit pit road along with Mike D'Almeida. And they will hit their stalls. And we'll look to Micah Hendricks out of the final corner. The 473 was on the back of these guys when the pit lane cycle started. Nate Kerr and Spencer Clark battling down to the final corner. Polasek beats McKenzie off pit lane. And Hendricks crosses the start-finish line now, and these guys are going to be well ahead of him. And Kerr is not going to be able to hold that position to Clark. And they head down to turn 1 and he slots in behind, but he's still got the Delta lead. Bauer comes out ahead of Mike D'Almeida, just slots in ahead. And here comes Damon Mitchell. He's going to exit right into this battle. Clark and Kerr have to give him space. Thomas uses this to get to the inside of Kerr, and now they go 2 by 2. Kerr goes a bit wide, and Fuad Rijla says, "Thank you very much. I will enter the battle for the Delta lead." They are right on the back of the Delta leader. Fuad Rijla and Trenton Kramer are looking for that win. Edward Gorman is now already under pressure from Francois Schink into the final corner. 10 minutes to go, and Schink is ahead into P4. What a recovery after that incident at the start of the race. Schink, big points for Sia and for himself in the championship. Mitchell looking for an attack on Clark.
hits the brakes, goes up the inside of the corner, and I think he's got the move done. This is a large group of cars that includes the entire, well, you've got the Delta top 3 there, and then 4 and 5 are not far behind. That's DeJay and Breen. Polasek has a 1.1 second gap over McKenzie right now. 10 minutes to go. You'd think, knowing Polasek, this race probably locked up for him. Looking for a double, looking for 3 in a row, really, after last week. Or excuse me, was VIR was last week. I guess it'd be a 3 in a row for sprints. But Francois Schink won at VIR. And Schink, I mean, this is another great week for him. He had a great race 1 and a rough race 2, but he's up into P4 here. And the field is actually a good bit spread out, at least at the front. In the back, though, this is where it's getting messy. Look at how many cars are on screen. And Mitchell is at the front of this. And Nate Kerr is not going to want to get stacked up into Al Rijla, into Kramer, and lose his shot at a double Delta win. Mike D'Almeida is on the back of Bauer. And Bauer came out of the pits ahead, but D'Almeida is looking to swap him back. Gets a little bit of grass there. Always tough to avoid that. We'll go on board with Trenton Kramer here. Just look at all the traffic up in front. As he follows Al Rijla, they look for some hope of a shot at getting past Nate Kerr. Maybe this field stacks up. Oh, he goes in a little deep there. They just haven't been able to get a run on Kerr since they've closed up to the back of him. Mitchell desperately trying to hold on to this P11, and then Chris Young is in P10 trying to score top 10 in his return. David Bauer has held D'Almeida behind him for another lap. But the laps are short here, so we're going to be doing a lot of them. It'll probably be 27, 28 laps in total. 7 minutes to go. Polasek still leads. McKenzie has cut that lead to under a second. I don't know that he has enough time to do anything more than that, though. Still hovering around a second. They are pulling away from Hendricks and Schink. It's a 2-man race up there. And back here, Clark has made a mistake. Thomas has gotten alongside. And how will this affect the battle for the Delta lead? As Kerr, will he get slowed up by this? Oh, they go too wide through Le Mans onto the back straight. And Kerr's going to have to make it 3 wide. You can't not do that because you're the Delta leader, and if you don't, Fuad Rijla is going to take advantage. Down the back straightaway, Clark ekes ahead. Fuad Rijla wants to make it 3 wide. These guys are battling for position. Kerr on the inside. Thomas goes in a little deep. Clark has to go in deep to avoid. Kerr trying to make it a 2-for-1 right here. Thomas is out of it. Can Clark stay alongside? Down to turn 1. This is allowing DeJay and Breen to close up. Clark on the inside of the Delta leader. Fuad Rijla and Kramer are going wheel to wheel. Kramer trying to take P2 in the Delta class, and he does. He cuts ahead of Fuad Rijla, and Kerr on the inside of David Thomas boxes him out, and Thomas slots in between the 2 cars, and that is exactly what Nate Kerr wants to see, is a non-Delta driver in between him and the rest of the field. Kramer there. This would be, I think, a career best finish in the Delta class. But wouldn't it be great to get that win? He'd have to get around David Thomas first, and within 5 minutes, and then also get around Nate Kerr in that same time frame. Off the final corner, Bauer looks like he's still not going to be under pressure from Mike D'Almeida on this lap. Polasek's lead has come down another 10th. Another tenth or so. Still not sure McKenzie's going to get to him in time. But this group right here, I mean, this is where all the action is happening. Rizla could very well be under pressure from DeJay for the Delta podium by the end of this. Oh, Kramer over rotates a little bit there. But I think he's managed to gather it up all right. Stays on the back of Thomas. Oh, now Rizla goes in deep there. It's just, they have varying pace at different parts of the track. You've got all the different cars represented here. Great to see Nate Kerr sticking out the Audi and making it work, leading the Delta title chase in that car. Even the Croc Promotions has abandoned the Audi. Those guys all driving Hondas today. But Bearcat Motorsports is sticking with it. So just over 3 minutes to go. Will Kramer do something here? DeJay's having to defend from Breen. And it looks like he has managed to do that. Polisek's lead looks healthy. Still at that 9/10 gap. Cooper Akers, Tommy Patel, and Corey Latimer all back here battling for 22nd overall. DeJay is having to defend from Breen again into turn 1. And I think he's going to have the inside line into turns 2 and 3. But Breen is really looking for something here. And Corrado Rizla slid a little bit there, got into the grass. And that will bring him back within the grasp of DeJay. And this battle for the podium may still be on. If Breen can get around DeJay, he could find himself on the podium instead. Oh, Kramer looking for an attack on Thomas. Thomas got a bad run through the corner. Oh, they touch a little bit. That's going to kill Kramer's momentum, actually. And is going to help Corrado Rizla, who's going to come steaming by. And Kramer slots back into 3rd place. Behind, DeJay is going to be under pressure from Breen again into this corner. And Breen's gotten really far alongside him this time. But DeJay holds it. Mark Darnell closes up to the back of that group. 2 minutes left. Next time the leaders come by, it'll probably be 3 laps to go. We'll get a check on that when they do come by. Thomas is now under pressure from Al Rizla. Al Rizla says, I passed Kramer. Let me go ahead and work my way around Thomas. But he's going to put himself under pressure from Kramer. And Kramer really wanted that. Al Rizla's going to go deep. They all managed to gather it up and make it work. And DeJay is closed up to the back of these guys again, and it's helping out. Nate Kerr a ton. Now, Michael Polasek, 7/10 is his lead. That has come down a bit. Oh, here we go. Mike D'Almeida has gotten close enough to David Bauer to attack him on this corner. So the battle for 7th heating up a little bit here. Now D'Almeida will have the kind of preferred outside line if he can have the momentum, but he won't. So he'll cross him over and try and just dive him into turn 1. Nope, can't do it. So with a minute to go, slots back in. Now out of the final corner, Kramer will be looking to get back into P2 in the Delta class. Al Rizla holding the kind of middle of the track. Oh, a little move to the inside, so Kramer goes outside, and Al Rizla has missed the apex with the late move, so Kramer will cross him over. He'll have that preferred inside, but they'll come to blows, and Al Rizla goes a little bit wide. DeJay trying to stick a nose in, and this all just results in them losing David Thomas, but the battle for the podium is still very much on. And DeJay lost some momentum there. He'll be under pressure from Breen, and into the corner. Breen sends it in, but DeJay fends him off. And this allows Acatella to get in on the fighting. The 2 leaders cross the line, and Polasek's lost a lot of time. This is a 3/10 lead now as they hit the white flag lap. Can McKenzie put Polasek under some pressure here and actually force a mistake out of him? Lobner serving to slow down. Al Rizla trying to keep Kramer behind him. He does. Bauer trying to keep Mike D'Almeida behind him. And Zepka, Zepka going around Gorman as Gorman goes off track. Polasek's lead is only at 2/10. It'll all depend on the exit from this corner. And I think he's gotten what he needs. It's a 3/10 lead for the Yellow Flag Motorsport driver, and he goes all the way to the inside of the track to defend it on the last lap of racing here at Sebring Modified. Polasek is being driven to the brink by his championship rival. But after everything is said and done, he's going to close that gap. And he's going to close it by quite a bit. Off the final corner, Polasek pulls off the double at Sebring Modified and wins just by 3/10 over Logan McKenzie. And then Micah Hendricks will round out the podium in third. Schink fourth, Zepka, Gorman, Bauer, D'Almeida, and then Nate Kerr coming down the back straightaway. Huge lead for him. And he hits the braking point for the final corner, and he will also be finishing a double here at Sebring Modified and extending his Delta Championship lead across the line for Bearcat Motorsports. Nate Kerr wins. And Fuad Rizla P2, Trenton Kramer P3 on the podium, DeJay P4, Breen 5th. What a race in both classes, right to the end. McKenzie, if he had had another 5 minutes, we probably could have seen a couple of attempts there. Polasek was really struggling at the end of that race, but he held on there. It was much different from the first race where he just flat out dominated. It's good to see the championship rivals going at it. They really scrapped in this race, and now they'll be a bit closer on points as we head into Long Beach next week. It'll be a 50-minute race at Long Beach, 1 pit stop, required tire change. Rain is not in the forecast, so it'll be great to see the drivers trying to tackle that challenge. We are done here at Sebring Modified. The final results coming at you now. For the first heat, Michael Polasek wins by 9.5 seconds over Daniel Mills. Then you have Gonzalo Fabi rounding out the podium. Schink and McKenzie in the top 5, and then Mayer, Lynn, Hendricks, Zepka, and Gorman. Then in the Delta class, Kerr on top, just ahead of Corey Lobner and JB DeJay. And then the rest of the field, you see Al Rizla there in 4th in the Delta class. Evan Clavijo down there in 32nd overall. And that does it for the first heat. For the second race, Michael Polasek again on top, but by a much slimmer margin, 3/10 ahead of rival Logan McKenzie. Then you have Micah Hendricks, 5.5 seconds back, rounding out the podium. Then you have Schink, Zepka, Gorman, Bauer, D'Almeida, Lynn, and Young. Then in the Delta class, Kerr wins over Al Rizla and Kramer, DeJay, and Breen rounding out the top 5. Here are the rest of your results. Carr, Mills, Lazan, Fabi, none of those guys finished. Mayer had the jump start penalty. So that second race definitely shuffled some things around. And that will do it from here at Sebring. That was an incredible, it was non-stop action. Non-stop for both of those races. It felt very much like Phoenix, and I guess that makes sense because this was very much laid out like an oval. The drivers were always going at it, and they were in these large groups. Very fun to watch, very fun to see. So we are going to show you the final championship standings, but before that, thank you for watching. We will see you next week at Long Beach, and have a good night.